work you're doing for Mother Ghana. I strongly agree with President Addo that his fight against corruption is better than former President Mahama's fight. And then you give me a long list of people that you want us to thank. Okay, we'll thank them. Madam Frema and Dr. Addo Kufuor, Samuel Wuku, Mohamed Nieje Soa, Madam Kate Jemfoa, Madam Mimi Daku, CEO of FDA, and this is Mustafa 441. What do you want, Mustafa? Why are you giving props to all these people? But thanks for watching. And Emilia from Asawasi says, thinking of something that the Ghanaian media may think I'm not for them, but that isn't the issue. Why we must get serious for once. We must deal with the issues as they come. We shouldn't be sleeping on the job. Ghanaian journalists must back up. Okay, thank you very much, Emilia. We're now going for Healthy You, brought to you by Vodafone. And with Vodafone, they have this Ready Business test that can get your business fit and ready for the digital and technological age. What you need to do is go to vodafone.com.gh/business, take the business tests, click on how ready are you, and then just see how you can help your business to take it to the next level. You can also call 0800 10,000, beautiful number, or 030-233-4040. The future is exciting. Ready? And today we continue our series on the A to Z of health. B is for blood pressure. And we will be opening the lines up for you to speak on issues to do with blood pressure, whether high blood pressure or low blood pressure. Healthy You begins right now. Welcome to Healthy You. Your doctor on call for the next 30 minutes is Dr. Emetha Bodo. Doc, good morning.
Good morning.
And Happy New Year to you.
New Year.
So you're on call for us 30 minutes.
Yes.
And you can call her at the right time to give her all your issues to do with blood pressure. First of all, let's get some definitions out of the way. What exactly is blood pressure, with either high or low? What is blood pressure?
Okay, so I'm sure we all know a basic function of the heart is to pump blood to other parts of the body. And this it does through blood vessels we call the arteries. So the arteries pump blood away from the heart to other parts of the body. Okay, so the pressure with which it does this is what we call blood pressure. Okay. And usually if the pressure or the tension is too much, then we say you have high blood pressure. And high blood pressure not only builds up tension in the walls of these arteries, but then it puts a strain on the heart. So then in the end, your heart has to work more than it usually should. And that's where we have all the side effects of high blood pressure, or hypertension as it's technically known. Okay.
Yes. There's also low, when there's a high, there must be a low.
Yes, there must be
there's also low blood pressure.
So the reverse of that is what we term low blood pressure. But I must say, however, that in the clinical setting, high blood pressure or hypertension is more relevant in terms of our health because we tend to see much more of those. And those tend to have a lot of deadly complications. That's what leads to strokes, heart attacks, which we call myocardial infarctions, kidney failure, eye diseases, and a whole lot of complications. So we tend to dwell more on the high blood pressure than the low, because the low, even though it can be a problem, all right, but then we don't tend to see that a lot.
Okay.
Yes.
How does high blood pressure come about?
Okay.
I mean, what are the factors that will lead to high blood pressure?
Okay, good. That's a good question because we have basically two types of high blood pressure or hypertension. So we have the primary and we have the secondary. The primary also called essential. And unfortunately, most of the high blood pressure we see is essential and we do not know the cause. Okay. We, however, have pointed or have noticed some risk factors. So we know that people who have families or relatives who have high blood pressure are themselves at a risk of having hypertension.
So it's genetic?
Yes. Okay. So then that has a genetic component. And we also know that people who tend to be obese, people who tend to be overweight, have a very high BMI, are at risk of developing hypertension. Your risk also increases the older you get, okay? So then we tend to see it in the 40s and above. However, I must say the lifestyle these days have brought the age very low because we see people in their 30s, people just above 20 developing hypertension. And we've realized that it's also stress related. So then in this competitive world, you realize people wake up very early, are in traffic for most parts of the day. They tend to have a lot of stress. And the thing about hypertension is that it comes with no symptoms most of the time. So you could be sitting down having a chat with me. You wouldn't know that your blood pressure is actually high. Okay, yes. So that's why we advocate screening, because without screening, without actually checking your blood pressure, you will not know that your blood pressure is high or low. Because most of the time you have no symptoms whatsoever. You just pop off, you have a stroke, and your blood pressure is skyrocketing, and you never knew that you had hypertension.
I guess that's why they call it the silent disease.
Yes, exactly.
High blood pressure, you will not feel the symptoms, and before you know, you are down with serious complications as a result of this particular disease, which is getting more and more common in these parts of the world. You're watching Healthy You. My guest is Dr. Emefa Godo, and you can call us when the lines come up on your screen, and you want to make this as interactive as possible. She is basically on call for the next 25 minutes or so, answering all questions to do with blood pressure as part of our series A to Z of Health. Now, Doc, what are the organs that can be affected by high blood pressure?
Okay, so technically we call these the end organs, but basically every organ in the body can be affected. So from the top to the bottom, the brain can be affected, the eyes can be affected, your heart can be affected. As I said, you can have a heart attack, you can have heart failure, your kidneys can be affected. Every organ in the body basically can be affected. Your liver can be affected by high blood pressure.
In the league table of diseases that kill Ghanaians,
yes,
where is high blood pressure?
At the top.
At the top?
At the very top, yes.
That's alarming.
Yes, so much so that we have a whole day dedicated at clinic just to seeing hypertensive patients. It has become so common. Almost every other patient we see has hypertension or has a blood pressure related illness, yes.
Is this a disease that is restricted to people of a certain age?
Well, not so much these days. In the past, as I said, a risk factor is age. So then the older you get, the higher your risk of developing hypertension. But now, because it's more diet related, lifestyle related, especially the essential ones, which we don't know the cause, compared to the secondary, which we can say that the cause is probably a kidney disease or an endocrine disorder. But for the essential, we just realized that basically our lifestyle, lack of activity, improper diets, high-fat diets, a lot of alcohol, smoking and the like have contributed to this. So we tend to see it across all age groups.
So that what you're saying is that if you were to cut down on these risk factors, if you were to cut down on smoking, on alcohol,
yes, you would cut down significantly on your risk. Yes, if you get active, if you exercise more, you cut down on all these practices, yes.
Can children get high blood pressure?
Children can get high blood pressure, but then commonly what we see is secondary hypertension in children, and that is usually due to a kidney disease. So then hypertension can come about as a kidney disease as a result of kidney problems.
So your kidney fails and then you get high blood pressure.
Hypertension, or hypertension can cause kidney failure.
Okay, so it works both ways.
Yes.
Both ways. Is that, you've been talking about high blood pressure for a couple of minutes right now. Is there an ideal figure? Okay. And explain those numbers. They always give you two numbers,
yes,
one over the other.
Exactly.
Some kind of improper fraction.
Yes.
So tell us exactly what those numbers mean.
So the two numbers, we have one above, one below. The one at the top we call systolic pressure, and the one at the bottom we call diastolic. We could also have isolated.
Explain for us.
Okay, so the systolic is the pressure at which, when the heart is active, the pressure at which the heart is pumping. Then the diastolic is when the heart is relaxing. That figure that you see. But usually we tend to see both numbers above. Okay, so technically we say if your pressure is 140/90 or above on 2 or more different occasions, and the pressure should be taken a few hours apart. Okay, so we don't just take one reading and say, oh, you have hypertension, because first of all we need to rule out what we call white coat hypertension. Okay, so people walk into the clinics and they see a doctor in a white coat and they become alarmed. You say, okay, we need to check your blood pressure. The next thing is unconsciously you become anxious. So we check the blood pressure and it's high.
So worry can make your your pressure go up.
Yes.
Just worry.
Worry can make your pressure. Worry does make your pressure go up. Okay, so then we take the pressure and we realize it's high. We don't just conclude and say, oh, we have hypertension, we need to start medication. No. We need to wait for at least 30 minutes, recheck the pressure. If it's consistently high, then we can conclude. So if it's consistently above 140 over 90 millimeters of mercury, that's the units, then we conclude that you have hypertension. But even then, we don't just jump and say you need medication. So we need to go into your history. We need to know the kind of lifestyle you are living. We need to know if you have very high or important risk factors, if you have a familial tendency to get hypertension, especially if you're a young person coming with very high readings, then we need to go into your history. So if there are things we can modify or do something about, like smoking, you take excessive alcohol, then we need to start lifestyle change as a first step of treatment before we put you on medication if you do need them. But we have people who come in with extremely high pressures, say over 180 over 100 or 180, 120, who may need emergency treatment. So with that kind of pressure, if we do check, because if you don't do something about it, then they can get a stroke or you can get heart attack. So then we need emergency treatments at that time. So after that, then we counsel and we put you on long term.
What is the highest reading you've encountered?
Over 240.
240?
Yes. People walk in with 240. They are not unconscious. They walk into clinic with very high readings, and they were not even aware. Yes.
And then what did you guys do with 240? You detain the person immediately?
Yes, we have to detain you. Exactly.
Because you can die, right?
Yes. So, and as I said, it's not just, apart from the white coats, checking the blood pressure, we need the right size of the cuff. So you find people who are extremely big, we don't even have the size that fits. So all these factors play a part in the reading. So we need to cross-check. Double check is very important. We don't just do one reading and conclude. So anytime you get extremely high readings, we need to do a second check to be sure.
We hear stories of people who were arguing, were really angry. In the middle of the argument, they popped off and died. Recently, there was a guy who went to have sex with his girlfriend, and he died on top of her. Could that be some pressure issues going on there?
Well, it could be, because it comes about with excessive activity, excessive stress, very strenuous activity.
But is sex a risk factor for high blood pressure?
Sex is not a known risk factor for high blood pressure. It's not. Okay.
You're watching GH Today on GH1 TV. We'll be opening up the phone lines right now. Phone lines are activated. The doctor is on call. Dr. Emefa Kodo. She'll be taking all your questions to do with blood pressure. You remember the drill. When you get through, please turn the TV volume off. Jubilate that you've gone through, and then speak to us through the phone. Okay, so that there's no feedback issues. Okay, don't give me high blood pressure. All right. Okay, good. So, what are the signs that I may need to go and check my blood pressure?
Okay.
In spite of the fact that it may be silent,
yes,
there may be other signs that I may have to look at.
Exactly, there may be other signs. So, headache is a very common complaint people come with. Persistent or frequent headache, and usually at the front part of the head. Yeah. Yes, that part is a very common complaint we get. So we advise that if you have persistent headaches, just walk into a pharmacy, a clinic, a hospital, just get your blood pressure checked. If you have kidney damage, okay, so you realize that of late the way you use the bathroom has reduced, or maybe you don't, your urine quantity has reduced, then you need to also get your blood pressure checked. Yes, it's also very important because it can lead to kidney damage. Also, we have the heart complications. Okay, so basically people who get extremely fatigued, previously they used to do a lot of things, but now they can't do anything anymore. The least thing, they get tired, those kind of things. You also need to get your blood pressure checked because it could be a telltale sign.
Okay.
Yes, of high blood pressure.
And suppose you've been diagnosed with BP, but before that, let me go to the lines. Richard, good morning.
Good morning, how are you?
I'm fine, well, speak to the doctor.
Okay, doc, my question is, one, genetic composition, can it be a factor to pressure? Then number two, what kind of food we eat can also be an attributing factor.
You want to know whether genetic... What's the question? What's the question, Richard?
I want to know if your genetic or the genes that one possess cause blood pressure.
Okay.
And two, the kind of food that we eat can also be a factor.
Okay, good question. Genes and food.
Yes. I mentioned earlier that genetics play a role in hypertension. It predisposes you more to high blood pressure. So we realize that it tends to run in families. So if you have your parents were hypertensive, your grandparents are hypertensive, then your risk is higher. Okay. Then diet also plays a very important role.
What should we avoid? What should we avoid?
Salty diet in
salt.
particular, yes.
Okay.
We realize too much salt increases water retention, and that causes the blood pressure to increase. So a lot of people who are hypertensive, we advise to take very minimal salt or no salt at all in the diet.
How about carbohydrates? Fufu, akpala, kenke?
You need to basically just everything do in moderation.
What is moderation? My fist? Is it my fist? Fist size of akpala every afternoon?
And usually don't try and avoid eating late, basically.
What is late?
Late
what
is
time is late?
after 6 p.m.
After 6?
Yes.
Okay. So you heard it. Watch the salt. Watch the carbs. Anything else we have to watch?
Oil, yes.
Oil?
Yes.
Okay. So that very rich-looking palm soup.
Yes.
Yeah, take it easy on that. So keep those calls coming in. Let us know exactly what your questions are about blood pressure, and I'll get the doctor to answer as many of them as she can before she goes. And of course, the WhatsApps are also open, always open, so you can send us a WhatsApp as well if you have any issues to do with blood pressure. So you've been diagnosed with blood pressure. What will happen next?
Okay, so after we make a diagnosis of blood pressure or hypertension, like I said, after 2 or more readings, the first step or treatment modality is lifestyle change.
Okay.
Then you need to be more active. We advise exercise, and by exercise, you don't necessarily need to go to a gym. I mean, you can go for a walk in the evenings, you can go jogging, just sacrifice maybe 30 minutes of your sleep, wake up earlier, go for a walk, just keep active. If you are awake, you can walk around during your breaks, etc.
Okay.
And then we advise, if you are smoking, you do have to stop completely.
Stop the smoke. Stop the booze.
Stop smoking. Do that in moderation.
Okay, what's moderation? A glass a day?
Moderation is, okay, for males, we usually say 1 beer bottle a week is moderate enough. Yes.
And some people are saying, quiet, 1 beer bottle a week. What are you saying? But it's for your own health.
Yes.
Let's go to Amidou. Amidou, good morning. Good morning, Amidou.
Yeah, good morning.
It's good to have you here. Yes, doctor is on the line. She's right here. We're talking blood pressure. What's your question?
Yeah, I wanted to find out whether local medication can it have effect on your liver or kidney.
Local?
If you seek for a hospital treatment and you don't get a result, can you resort to a local medication?
Is it like herbs and bitters, things like that?
Yeah, herbs, like those herbs.
Those herbs. Okay, all right. Thank you very much, Amidou.
Yes, good question.
So
it has actually been found that herbal medication does have a negative effect on your kidneys. So we do not advocate herbal medication. And his points about the orthodox drugs not working or not being effective enough, the thing about hypertension is that it is a chronic illness. So it's not like malaria or pneumonia that you get and you take drugs and you're cured. We cannot really cure hypertension. What we can do is manage it and try and avoid having complications. So the thing is that once you are diagnosed with hypertension, you are put on medication, you need to take it lifelong, basically. So you need to be religious about your drugs. You need to take it, you need to keep up with your doctor's appointments, and you need to take it regularly as you are supposed to. And the drugs usually take about a month to 2 months before you actually start seeing effects. So if you do not take it like you're supposed to, then you may not see effects. Then you resort to herbal medication, and you're actually making matters worse.
Okay, so that's a very interesting point there. You need at least a month or 2 to get the effect of the drugs to work. So maybe you want to put an alert on your phone. Yeah, that time to take the drugs, and you take it, all the time and bring it down. Now, there's a question of, say somebody gets like a cardiac arrest at home, maybe as a result of high blood pressure. What can you do for that person before you bring that person to the hospital?
Okay, that's a good question. First of all, you may not be sure it's a cardiac arrest because there are so many causes of unconsciousness or sudden loss of consciousness. So we usually advocate that you need to rush the person to the nearest health facility. It may be a clinic, it may be a hospital, it may be just a small private facility, but anywhere that there are professional practitioners there, you need to take the person to, because you may think it's a heart attack, but you may be wrong. Yes, there are 1,001 causes of.
All right. So no self-medication. rush the person to the nearest medical facility so that the professionals can take care of that person and deal with the issue. We've got another caller on the line, Stephen for Dr. Kodo. Stephen, good morning.
Good morning.
Yes, I've brought you a doctor on call. Please ask her your question.
Yeah. All right. Thank you for the program you are doing. Actually, I'm not to throw in a question there. I want to contribute to the show.
Yes, it's about blood pressure, right?
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Pressure.
Go ahead.
I want to talk about you asked the question, somebody died on sex, and then a doctor was saying extreme exercise or activity can cause that. Yeah. Normally that's why, all right, let me say I'm a health practitioner. That's why I want to contribute.
You are
what happened is
you said you are a what?
Don't come for checkup.
Okay.
I'm a nurse.
Okay, good. Good. People don't come for checkups. Okay.
Yeah, people don't come for checkup, and we do encourage people to come for periodically checkup. You know, some people you may hear a shock news of death. Oh, this person is not saying, he's not doing it. High blood pressure. You ask a question. What is the highest recording? And doctor said that 240. You can have high 280.
Wow.
280. Yeah.
Crazy.
And I've seen some people dying at a spot. You can't do anything here. I've witnessed a number of them. So we do advise that they should come for periodic checkup, as things may get out of hand and we may not know the cause, and we may think it's an evil doing, it's our own doing. And also, she's a doctor, and we are nurses, and we do normally go about non-pharmacological management.
Yes.
They do the medical ones. So she's more on the medical aspect of it. They are keeping more of the nutrition.
Okay.
Nutrition, how we diet.
Nutrition.
In fact, that is very, very important.
Important.
To
okay.
The general population. That is very, very important. In order to care about this condition, we have to consider our diet. Our diet. In fact, she talked about oil or the fatty diet.
Good.
And then the sodium, that's salt, and the
salt.
rest.
Okay.
Carbohydrate also. And that's why she talked about the alcohol. Alcohol is a carbohydrate.
Okay.
So if you're able to cut down, or if you're able to cut our fat, carbohydrate, and the rest, we can also do something about it. So
okay, Stephen.
That's a little I want to chip in.
No, I thank you very much. I'm glad that you're watching. He's in the field as well as a nurse. He's watching the value of regular checkups. We've got to make stress on that.
Yes.
Prevention.
Unfortunately, as a nation or as Africans, it's not really in our culture. Unless we fall sick, we don't see the need to go to the hospital. I mean, yeah, but
so we need to be more preemptive.
Yes, we need to be more preemptive.
Now, Doc, somebody is asking probably sugar. What's the role of sugar in high blood pressure?
Sugar does not have a known role in high blood pressure, but then sugar, we know, can cause diabetes.
Okay.
So, and diabetes and hypertension also is two-way. Okay. I mean, having high blood pressure increases your risk for diabetes and vice versa.
All right.
So then, basically, as maintaining good nutrition, you need to cut down on sugar as well, not just the salts.
Okay, so like diabetes and sugar are like running mates, you know, so be careful of the sugar. You take sugar, you predispose yourself to diabetes, and then you may get high blood pressure. Let's go to Kwabena. Kwabena, good morning.
Yeah, good morning, Kathy. Good morning.
Yeah, how be?
Good.
You're there inside. Okay, I've got Dr. Emma Fakpodo on call for you. What's your question to her?
All right, thank you. I'd like to ask Doctor, mine has to do with stretching. Okay, anytime I stretch, sometimes I feel some sharp pain within my heart region. So I'd like to ask what it is. And I don't know if I should go and see the doctor immediately, then the doctor will advise me. So I'd like to ask her. And another contribution is it has to do with these specialist people at the hospital. You know, sometimes people do say the specialists, they are more expensive. When you don't have money, you can't see them and things. So it should throw more light on that. Maybe kidney specialists, maybe heart, and those things.
Okay.
That people will be visiting them more often. to avoid such unforeseen occurrences.
Okay, so it's a stretching, you stretch and then you feel pains and then you want to ask a question about specialists in the hospital. Is that correct?
Yeah.
Okay, the stretching is in your arms or your legs? What are you stretching?
No, just stretching. Trying to stretch. I feel some sharp pain within my heart region.
Okay, all right. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, thank you very much, Doc. So the man stretches and he feels pains. He wants to know what's going on.
He does need to see a doctor.
Okay.
Okay, because the problem here is I haven't seen him. I can just imagine where he has the pain. But I need to go more into his history. I need to ask him a few questions, which I can't do here.
No.
So he needs to see a doctor concerning that. About specialists, like the nurse who called and said about the screening, regular screening is done not by specialists. Okay, so if you can't afford to get your own personal blood pressure reading machine at home, which you can do checking every day, every 3 days, once a week, you can just walk into a health facility, get your blood pressure checked.
Yeah.
So until get maybe an annual check of your vitals, just do labs, do a full blood count, check your kidneys, make sure everything is intact.
Okay.
Then if you have a problem, you will be referred to a specialist.
Okay.
But until then, I don't think doing the basic checks requires seeing a specialist.
Okay.
No.
And you can walk into these pharmacies. Some of them do it for you for free. Some charge 50 pesos or 1 CD. So pharmacists, generally, they have this fixed there. Okay, let's go to Kaswa. Kaswa, good morning.
Good morning.
Greetings. How are you?
I'm fine. But
Okay. 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 All right. Thank you very much. Do you speak Chi?
Yeah, I do speak
Okay,
Chi,
go.
so
What did she say?
if I understood her clearly, she said she was pregnant and she wasn't known to be hypertensive. But in the course of the pregnancy, she was diagnosed as being hypertensive. After delivery, her blood pressure stabilized and it has come to 140/90.
Yes.
But she's a seamstress and she's realized she gets uncomfortable. I wasn't really clear about that. After sitting, for a while, and she needs to go and take a rest and she feels better. Okay, so one thing I forgot to mention as what we've seen as a cause of high blood pressure is pregnancy. Okay, so we get patients coming in. Prior to getting pregnant, their blood pressures were normal. And then second trimester, third trimester, the blood pressures go up. Okay, and we call that pregnancy in hypertension in pregnancy or preeclampsia. Okay, so then in that case, we have your blood pressure going up and we have a little bit of kidney damage. Okay, yes, so that is reversible. Usually it will go away after you've had a baby. And in her case, I think that is what happened because now her blood pressure is 140/90. Even though it's borderline, we wouldn't rush to just put her on medication because, like I said, you have to be on these drugs for life.
Okay.
And 140/90 is high, but it's not alarmingly high.
Okay.
And I'm sure with a few lifestyle modifications, with dietary changes, it can come down.
Okay. I think we want to go on the line again. I do have another caller. Good morning.
Yeah, good morning.
Yes. Charlie, how be things?
I should say Alhamdulillah. We are grateful to Allah.
We did, sir. Where are you calling from and what's your question for doctor?
Yeah, I'm calling from Oda, Achemoda, in the Eastern region.
Okay, go ahead.
Yeah, I happen to be, I am a dispensing assistant.
Okay.
And what I realized is that having dispensed the drugs to patients, you realize that it's a routine drug. Remember, when they come on their next visit, you expect that they should exhaust the drug by then. But they will come back and so automatically tells you that the person couldn't kind of follow what she's supposed to, or he's supposed to make sure that he finishes the drug within that 1 month period. So we realize that how what is the kind of education that we give to them is very critical. And I think that is what we really have to look at.
Okay.
Because people are really dying with us. Okay. Because there was a case, that was last week, a patient came, and we realized that she doesn't even know how to even take her drug. She just told me that she went and they gave her this drug that she's hypertensive, and so it's a big issue. And she I must say that, Charlie, you are doing a great job. You are doing a great job.
Thank God.
We appreciate that. Yeah.
Thank you very much.
So when aside that, after everything, I want to give you a personal information. Yeah?
No problem.
Okay.
Send us a WhatsApp on the number, and then I'll take the message and we'll talk.
Okay.
Okay. Yeah. Love to everybody in Odan. Love that place. I used to work there some time ago. But he's talking about abuse of the drugs or not taking the prescriptions correctly.
And I think that comes back to us medical practitioners. Looking at the doctor-patients population, I mean, we see over 50 to 100 patients a day. They walk in, we just write the drugs. We don't take time to counsel them. And patients counseling is key because they don't even know they're supposed to take their drugs. They don't know this is in the morning, once a day. They don't even know it's lifelong.
Before food or after food?
After food. They just think that, okay, the doctor gave me these drugs for maybe a month. So when the month ends, that's it. They don't even come back to the hospital because they are okay. They don't feel sick. But the thing is, we need to counsel that hypertension is a chronic illness. It doesn't just go away.
Okay.
You're just trying to manage it.
Okay.
And you don't wait to run out of drugs before you go for a refill.
Okay.
You keep coming and we keep having reviews. You go for a refill. So you don't have to wait to develop complications.
Okay.
The counseling is key here. And I think we as medics are to blame over here. So we need to do better in that regard.
Government, train more doctors. We need them. And nurses and dispensing technicians. Let's go to the Volta region where they've discovered lithium. But we're not talking about lithium now. We're talking about blood pressure. Good morning. Good morning.
Good morning.
Yes, sir. Who are you?
Hello.
Who called it? What's your name? What's your name?
I'm from Jati.
Okay, what's your question on blood pressure?
Yo, I would like to speak the other language.
You want to speak over here? You go ahead.
Yeah. Yo, mama, biabadi.
Hey.
Onya edolise ata jorejo patako naku. But my biabado be ni ajorejo di na Mexico na America le gbo wata wonu be na gaku aro o afe to fi ado kodia.
Okay. Okay. Yekema.
Akba.
Thank you very much. So this is a similar question that was asked, that if suddenly you get an attack, maybe a heart issue, what can people do for you? And you said they should just take you as quickly as possible.
Yes.
To the hospital.
That is the best thing to do.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay. Question on blood pressure. Can pepper aggravate your pressure levels if you take too much pakoshito?
No, not that we know.
No? Okay. Tell me a little bit about the exercise thing. Why does moving around help to bring your pressure down?
Okay, for one, moving around reduces your fat levels, okay? And we know that fat buildup can accumulate in the arteries. That's the blood vessels I talked about earlier, which are the channel for which the heart pumps blood to the other parts of the body. So if these channels are clogged up with fat, then you have a higher chance of tension buildup, increasing your blood pressure. So then activity is very important. Activity is key, and it's not an hour a day. I mean, we advocate exercising at least 3 times in a week, 30 minutes every time, 3 times in a week. Just keep your heart moving, keep your heart pumping, and just cut down on the fats and keep a healthy weight.
Those of us who spend 8 to 5 sitting down in the office, are we at risk?
A big risk.
We are.
Yes, you are at risk, and you need to find a way. I mean, where there's a will, there's a way. You need to incorporate moving, getting active. Maybe you take short breaks. You just walk around. Just try and be active, because it's a big risk, but then obviously it's your job. You can't just leave your job. It's your source of income, yes. But you need to find a way around it.
Okay, so we eat lunch on the 7th floor. Instead of taking the lift, we should walk, eh?
Yes, you can use the stairs.
All right. Any other remarks you want to make? What's the most important thing that somebody should take away from this conversation about blood pressure?
Okay. So the most important thing I would say is that hypertension is with us now. It's extremely common. It's a silent killer. We don't see symptoms. Before we know, we have complications, okay? And healthy lifestyle and dietary modification have been known to reduce your risk significantly. So if you know, even if you don't have family members, you think you have a healthy weight, you are slim, you don't have any symptoms, you still have to get active. Incorporate it into your lifestyle. You need to cut down on the alcohol. big time. You need to stop smoking if you are smoking. You need to do regular checkups, okay? We need to make it a habit as Africans to regularly just go for screening, find out what's going on in our bodies, not just go to work, come back, sleep, wake up the next day. The cycle repeats itself. We need to find time to get ourselves checked. Yeah.
Great. Now you said blood pressure, hypertension is a chronic disease that
Yes.
Once you are diagnosed, you have to manage for life.
Yes.
Does the national is it on the national health insurance? Are BP drugs free for Ghanaians?
BP drugs are not free, but BP drugs, some are as low as 5 Ghana cedis.
Okay.
Yes, so for as low as 5 cedis, you can get some drugs. I don't want to mention names, but some drugs for like a week or 2 weeks.
Okay.
Yes, and some are a bit more expensive. I mean, depending on the efficacy, the potency, and the brand names. Okay, but basically, hypertensive drugs are not too expensive. No, they are not.
Okay, but would it help if it were free? I mean,
it would help.
It would help.
Yes, it would help.
Okay, so that's our conversation really on blood pressure. It's part of our series A to Z of diseases. Last week we did asthma. And today we've been fortunate, I brought to you, a doctor to be on call for 30 minutes or so, Dr. Emefa Bodo. Thank you very much for watching the show. And remember, Healthy You is brought to you by Vodafone, who want the world of business to be made better using technology. If you are thinking of what your SME, your small or medium scale business needs to excel, to thrive, you want to get in touch with Vodafone, go online, go to vodafone.com.gh/business and click on how ready are you to take the free test from Vodafone. You can also call them on 0800 10,000 or 030-233-4040, 030-233-4040. The world of business is fast-paced, it's digitally driven, it's exciting, it's ever-changing, and you want to make sure that your business is up to speed. So you go take that test from Vodafone and see where you are. Vodafone, proud to bring you Healthy You Thursdays at this time on GH1 TV. Vodafone, the future is exciting. Ready? Well, I'm ready for some music, I'm ready for some sports news, I'm ready for some entertainment, and I'm ready for your messages. My name is Kafui Day. You are watching GH Today on the 18th of January 2018. Stay with us.
In this modern age of business, you need all the help you can get to stay ahead. But different businesses require different solutions. So how do you know what your business needs? Now I'm going to show you how Vodafone will help you do just that.
Visit the Ready Business website and click on How Ready Are You to take the Vodafone Ready Business test. Answer a few questions. Once you've answered them, you'll receive your readiness score.
Just fill in your contact details to view your full report, which will let you know exactly where your business stands. Vodafone will provide you with tailor-made solutions to help you transform your business like I have done mine.
Visit vodafone.com.gh/business to take the free test now.
The future is exciting. Ready?
Every Sunday at 10 a.m.